On behalf of all of us, we want to welcome you to the Blue Hills Business Center and Contractor Incubator at 5008 Prospect. I'd like to first thank Paseo Academy of the Performing Arts Jazz Ensemble. I hope you had an opportunity to hear them outside. And I'd also like to recognize our public officials, Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, Councilwoman and Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Circo, 3rd District Councilman Jermaine Reed, 3rd District Councilwoman Melba Curls, 1st District Councilman Scott Wagner, and 5th District Councilman Michael Brooks. Is there anybody else out there? Okay, great. I want to welcome a special guest, the Blue Hills Community Services founder, our ambassador, and our friend, Father Norman Roeder. As we begin, I'd like to draw your attention to the presentation on the screen. We've assembled a sampling of before and after pictures and special acknowledgments to our event sponsors, Rao Construction Company, the Robert E. Miller Group, Junk Architects, Polsinelli, and Greater Kansas City LISC. And to all our funding partners, our development partners, our community partners, and our incubator clients. All of you played such a critical role in making this development a success, and we really want to celebrate today with you. In addition, if you haven't seen on the digital display out in the lobby, we have a construction time-lapse video. Take a minute to look at the before and after. It's pretty amazing. So many of you recall this building as DeCarlo Construction, a vibrant construction company for years along Prospect Corridor. More recently, you recall this building as vacant, boarded up with broken windows, overgrown, and another sign of urban disinvestment and blight in the heart of our city. Blue Hills Community Services acquired this site with high hopes of urban reinvestment. In 2009, we envisioned an innovative development supported by our experience with small construction contractors and by our strong partnerships. A vision to repurpose this once vacant building and create a vibrant economic and community catalyst along Prospect Corridor. A regional partnership to transform the energy efficiency market in the Kansas City metropolitan region emerged, and Kansas City was one of 25 communities to receive funding through the U.S. Department of Energy's Better Buildings Neighborhood Program. A Blue Hills Community Services partnership with the city's Energy Works KC program began, and with inspiration from our partners and nearly $3.3 million in financing from the City of Kansas City, Greater Kansas City LISC, and our philanthropic partners, the Blue Hills Business Center and Contractor Incubator became a reality. A multi-tenant facility providing training and business development for small business construction contractors, event, meeting, and training space for our community partners, and new business offices for our programs and services. Located in the Blue Hills neighborhood and 3rd Council District, bounded by our neighbors to the east, the Town Fork Creek neighborhood, and visible to nearly 95,000 commuters a day off 71 Highway, today we celebrate our opening, a new beginning, and a transformation on Prospect Corridor, and high expectations for continued neighborhood revitalization. Today, the heart of the city has much to be proud, and today we celebrate with you. We raised the roof. We literally raised the roof. And Cliff Poppert is our Director of Planning and Development and was project manager on this site. He has a few words.
Thank you, Joanne. Well, good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be here finally, standing before all of you all at our open house. There's a few of you out there who came in the building before we touched a single wall, took down a single window or tore off the roof. And I'm sure as you look at the slideshow and get an idea of how much we really did to this space, those who were in it before will get the full impact of what happened to this building here. It literally was caving in on itself. We saved the exterior walls. We did so much to this building, and we self-certified to the LEED Gold standard. Which, as you look around, it's not very easy sometimes to tell, but these daylight windows that we have above us are bringing in a ton of natural daylight, reducing our lighting requirements. The lights automatically dim and brighten depending on how much light's coming into the building. Every room has an occupancy sensor. We don't have to touch a switch coming in or out. Everything turns off for us automatically, helping us conserve energy. Some of the major things that I'd like to touch on real quick is we saved over 900 tons from the landfill here in Kansas City. And those of you who are familiar with our current status with the landfills will understand how important that really is. We diverted 98% of our total construction waste here. We recycled 26 tons of wood, 6.5 tons of metal, and over 900 tons of concrete that we crushed and reused here on site to raise this parking lot and patio area up off grade of the street. We reduced our water usage by 41% and our energy usage by 43%. And we did all of this without a general contractor. Rao Construction, who is one of our sponsors here tonight, served as our construction management agency. We most certainly could not have done it without them, but they performed very few trades here on site. They mounted our roof here, which is an insulated, this is 12 inches of foam above us, giving us an incredible insulation. Not easy to tell when we have 200 people walking around the building. It's hot in here tonight. But we did this with a lot of Section 3, MBE, and WBE contractors, a lot of small contractors. We had almost 30 contractors working in the building here at different points during construction. And after everything was said and done, 28% of that went to, 28% of all money from the building, the $3.3 million, went to a Section 3 contractor. 31% of all... 31% went to MBE contractors, and 13.5% went to WBE. And I'll tell you that it was an absolute pleasure working with every single one of our contractors we had here. Not always during construction, but looking back, I'm entirely grateful for everybody who had a part to doing this. This building would not be what it is today without our contractors, without our design team who's here tonight, and without our site supervisor, Morris Good, who's here tonight as well. So I really want to thank each and every one of you who had some hand, and it seems as I look around, everybody here tonight had a hand in what we've done. So I just want to thank you for making this possible. Thank you.
I'm going to rearrange the schedule a little bit. Congressman Cleaver is here. He came to our construction kickoff event last April. He came during construction several times, and he's here tonight. And I just want to thank him for being such an advocate for us, for being such a partner through the Green Impact Zone, and really working hard to make sure that this project is successful. Congressman?
Thank you. I think when the history of this era is written, I think that Norm Roeder has to be recorded as the father of all of the development that has occurred in the Blue Hills area and beyond, because what happened with the creation of Blue Hills was the kind of fire that moves from place to place and helped create many other very active neighborhood organizations in the area. I was struck by the fact that Morris Good is not here.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he is. I went through. Oh, there in the back. I went through the facility with him back when it was cold in here, and I'm calling him out for a special reason. Sometimes in Kansas City, and probably in the world, we kind of overlook and forget people. This building was owned by the DeCarlos, and they have a very, very deep commitment to the urban core. Let me tell you how I know. First, they stayed here for years. They didn't abandon this area because it was decrepit and so forth. They stayed here. They eventually went out of business. Mr. DeCarlo died, leaving the building, of course, to his wife. Mitch DeCarlo spent the night sleeping on the sidewalk in front of the board, in front of the election board, so that I could be the first person to file for mayor. 1991, he slept there all night long and stood in line for me to come there that morning to file. And when we decided that we were going to proceed with the development of 18th and Vine, I made a statement we wanted to do 50% minority participation. Well, most of the other construction companies backed out immediately. DeCarlo came forward and said, we want to be a part of history. This is the largest MBE participation in Kansas City history. So 18th and Vine was 50-50. DeCarlo and Harris Construction. Well, it was Courtney Day, Elbert Harris, the owner and CEO. And I mention all of that because then Mrs. DeCarlo made the decision that she wanted to give this building, not sell it, to give it to an organization which ended up being Blue Hills. And they have a long and deep history. And I think it'd be kind of tragic if we forget the DeCarlos. So for whatever it's worth, remember it. And I also want to say that this is going to be a fabulous operation. It meets with all of the things we've been trying to do in the Green Impact Zone. We have Jim Vaughn and I were coming over looking at all the sidewalks and curbs around here that have been done. Anita Maltbia, the director, is here. And we're working continuously to make other developments in the area as exciting as this. This is absolutely fabulous. And if you keep in mind that had this not happened, we would be calling these city council members asking for money for demolition. This would have been an ugly, vacant lot. And so we have a lot of stuff going on around the country, in Washington in particular, that's nasty and ugly. And I celebrate the fact that here in our community, we've got some pretty good stuff going on. And a lot of the goodness is related to the members of the City Council who are here, and also those of you who are giving of your time, your talent, and your treasure. So I appreciate the fact that we're saving a community, not rebuilding it. We're saving a community. And in the months, years, and decades to come, those of you here can say, you know, I was there, I was a part of it. We don't want it to be like the March on Washington. There were 250,000 people who were there. Today, there's 2.6 million people who were there, and it goes up every other month. So, you know, we know that, you know, it was hot, it was crowded, but when people say, well, you know, I was there, you know, we know that the 10,000 people couldn't have gotten in here. So look around so you'll know when the people are telling the truth. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. This project wouldn't have happened without a very important partner. City of Kansas City, the Energy Works program, the U.S. Department of Energy, really was the catalyst to make sure that the financing was in place for this project to proceed. Dennis Murphy with the Office of Environmental Quality was paramount to that discussion. Jerry Schechter is the Sustainability Coordinator and Energy Works KC Grant Manager for that office. And speaking on behalf of Dennis, I want to just thank the staff of the Energy Works KC. Jen Deegan, thank you. We went through highs and lows, but we got it done. Jerry and his team managed the $2.2 million Energy Efficiency and Conservation Grant block grant funded by the Department of Energy, and he has a few comments to make. Jerry?
Thank you. One minor correction. The grant that we got was $20 million. 10% of it went here. A little bit over 10%. As Kansas City developed its work plan for the Energy Works KC grant application, we solicited input from neighborhood representatives to identify one or more projects they would like us to fund with a federal grant that was intended to promote energy conservation, support for local businesses and job creation, and to help transform the local energy efficiency market in our community. A small business incubator community center was identified as a critical project for Blue Hills and surrounding neighborhoods, and an opportunity to add momentum to other revitalization activities anticipated along Prospect. It was viewed as a potential catalyst that could be a resource providing immediate and long-term benefits to the neighborhood and the entire city. An extremely vocal supporter for inclusion of this project in the grant application was Anita Maltbia, Green Impact Zone staff. We were very pleased to be able to contribute a significant portion of the project funding needs from the federal ERA grant. This is your stimulus dollars at work, folks, competitively awarded to Kansas City from the Department of Energy, at the same time to be a part of a partnership with the Kansas City Neighborhood and Housing Services Department and LISC in making this happen. In addition to funding the green, energy-efficient renovation of an underutilized urban core building in poor condition, it was an opportunity to convert a neighborhood liability into a great asset to provide needed resources and support for local small businesses who want to perform energy efficiency retrofits, perform other services important to the community, and provide job opportunities for local people. On behalf of the city staff who manage the Energy Works KC, I want to express our sincerest appreciation first to Congressman Cleaver for his support as Kansas City competed for our grant with Department of Energy, to the Mayor and City Council for authorizing the use of so much of a single grant for a single project, the City Manager and the U.S. Department of Energy who maintained their support of the project in the face of slower than expected start, and the local contractors and workers whose labor resulted in this beautiful community resource. In particular, I want to congratulate Joanne Bussinger and all the staff at Blue Hills Community Services and thank them for their vision and their hard work in turning a concept for a catalytic project into a reality for the Blue Hills neighborhood, the Green Impact Zone, for Prospect Avenue, and for the city. Blue Hills had choices to make when they were planning this project. They decided that it was important on the one hand to do the right thing, but also on the other hand, they decided to do the thing right. Thank you all for coming here this afternoon to celebrate completion of the first step in the success of this redevelopment.
Fifth District Councilwoman and Mayor Pro Tem Cindy Circo has been a partner and an advocate and a friend to Blue Hills Community Services for many years. Cindy, would you like to say a few words?
I have to use my hands, so can you still hear me? Actually, I was asked to step in and speak on behalf of the mayor who was planning on attending at the last minute, was not able to attend. So he does send his regards. And these notes were prepared for him, but I never know when I'm going to go to an event. You know, every night we have a list of things that we're supposed to show up at, and every night you go, oh gosh, I wish I could just go home. And I never know when that particular event is going to be something that moves me. And when I walked in tonight and saw the faces that I'm seeing, Father Roeder, I almost got emotional. Mother right behind him. Anita, who's been just an amazing person to work with. and then to have to speak after the congressman. You know, I tell my community leaders all the time, it doesn't matter who the elected official is. It's the people on the street. You're going to live here when I am no longer elected. You're going to live here when the next person's no longer elected. And it is when you take charge of your own community and have a vision. And this community had a vision. They supported the groups, Joanne, Cliff. How many years ago was it that we sat in an office in City Hall and contemplated this, and you presented the idea? And I didn't have to micromanage it as a politician, because I knew Blue Hills had a vision. I knew Blue Hills had community partners. I knew Blue Hills would do great work and have the intent of putting people back to work and in empowering people. And these same people did that for me. I came here as a city council, as a neighborhood leader, not as a mayor pro tem. And I grew. And I grew because people showed me things, because I learned from them. And this place symbolized this for me when I walked in today. I felt like I really was coming home. And I know I seem a little emotional over this, but to see something that was so dilapidated, and to see a community's vision, and to see people get out of their way and just give them the support, the nod and support to say, yes, you can do it, and let them do it for themselves, that kind of ownership is sustainable. When we force it on you, when we tell you what you have to think, when we tell you how you have to act, that's not sustainable. When you take over your community, communities change. My job is here to support you in that role. And I appreciate all of you who've supported me in my role and my growth. So Joanne, I am so proud of you. I am so proud of this building and what it's become. Blue Hills, all the neighborhood leaders from Blue Hills that continue to fight for their neighborhood and change it. And it's palatable, and you can see it and you can feel it. And I am excited to be a Kansas Citian, and I am so excited for the urban core in Kansas City right now, because we are moving. We are going places. We are the place people want to come and live and move back to, and that was what this was all about. So thank all of you for what you do.
Gosh, you almost made me cry. Thank you so much. You are in Blue Hills neighborhood, but you are in the 3rd council district. And so we have our 2 representatives, Councilwoman Mabel Curls, Councilman Jermaine Reed. Jermaine, you want to say a few words?
Well, this is good news, right? And I am so glad to be here today, right in the heart of our community, but right in the heart of this great city. As Councilwoman Circo, Mayor Pro Tem was speaking, I was reminded of a story of when I was 15 years old. And my family, which lived, actually this was a time in which we were homeless, and we were living with family members before we actually transitioned and moved into a homeless shelter up on 40th and Truce. But while doing that transition, we lived with the family member out on 72nd Street. And I had to catch the school bus, or I'm sorry, the Metro bus, all the way down to Northeast High School. And this was about age 14 years old. And I remember riding down the street, all the way up from the Prospect, from 72nd, all the way down to 12th Street to transfer so I can get on the Independence Avenue bus. And I remember how that day I said, something needs to happen where change comes to Prospect, where change comes to our community. And from that, long story short, I went to a youth group which I was involved in called Saving Youth in Crisis, which was at the Adult Group Against Crime, and we formed a community cleanup in which we started all the way from 72nd Street all the way up to 31st Street, I believe is where we stopped, or actually even 27th Street. And we cleaned up with bags and trash bags and picked up, and we had neighborhood groups who helped us and do that. And to think now, a couple of years later, serving on the city council, and to be able to see a larger change in our community. I am extremely grateful and proud of the community in which I live, work, and play every single day right here. And so I certainly must say thank you and big congratulations to you, Joanne, for your hard work, and to everyone at Blue Hills for your leadership in making this happen. So many businesses will be able to thrive right here within the Green Impact Zone, but right here, right on right on Prospect. Making sure you guys are paying attention. But even right on Truce, we're going there too. But if I can ride down a little further down the street now, because right at 39th and Prospect, we just had a groundbreaking for an Aldi's grocery store. Right down even further, if I ride down a little further, we are going to be breaking ground on a new East Patrol Crime Lab and police station right just down the street. If I can even go a little bit to the south with my colleagues from the 5th District, the new area up there with the new Family Dollar, which is now open up, and my grandmother who now is moving around the corner, who she and I have been over to that Family Dollar a couple of times in the past couple of weeks. But there is a change coming to Prospect, and I'm excited about that change. So it certainly takes money to make this happen, and $3 million isn't easy to come by. And so I am thankful for our city staff and to my colleagues for being able to help support that change in urban renewal and renewing the urban landscape right here in the heart of our community. I am honored to be serving as a council representative for this community and knowing that a further change will continue to come right in the heart of our community. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to say a couple of words. When I first saw this facility, it wasn't an open house. What was it, a closed house? I came in here and I thought, they can't do anything with this. I just thought they need to tear it down and move on. But just to think before and after, this is just wonderful. I'm so excited about this, and I'm glad to see, this is now in the 3rd District, so whenever someone says, I got a boo back there. Nothing's going on in the 3rd District. I said, come with me to 71. You can look over. The first time, I guess after you had painted it, I hadn't seen it, and I almost had a wreck. I thought, when did they paint it? It's beautiful, and it just stands out, and it helps the whole neighborhood. You've done a wonderful job. I'm so excited, and thanks everyone for your help.
This is really about the neighborhood and the people in the neighborhood, and it's important that they were involved in this process. They were a big part of this success, and the community, there are many opportunities for the community to remain engaged. And so I just want to introduce you to somebody who is very important to Blue Hills. Toy Wilson is a resident of the Blue Hills neighborhood for 35 years. She's currently the vice president of the Blue Hills Neighborhood Association. She has been a champion of many urban causes, and we are just proud that Toy is here with us this evening to say a few words.
Thank you. Coming together was the beginning. Keeping together, we saw progress. Working together, we stepped into the future. This is the future of the Blue Hills Neighborhood Association. We are just thrilled and honored to have this building. We plan to work with them daily to see what benefits that the Blue Hills Neighborhood Association can receive. They're developing relationships and projects that link the community to our view of the future. And therefore, we are going to be partners. We look forward to working with them, taking classes here, developing and growing, and seeing what can happen to the rest of Prospect, because we know that their eye is on the mark. Thank you.
Just real quickly, we have 3 of our contractor incubator tenants here. First Response Construction, Chris, just raise your hand. Dan Garth with Abraham Mechanical. Dan, are you around? and Leonard Washington with America on the Go Plumbing. Thank you guys for coming. Please tour the facility. This is all about the heart of Kansas City. It's about the people, and we want you to enjoy yourselves. There's lots of food. There's lots of beverages. Please enjoy yourself. Thank you.